Welcome Arnold and Astral. Good to see you. Welcome Lise and Wes as well. Let's wait for some more people to join. But we have a pretty interesting outlook to discuss. Welcome Abby, to see you as well. Nice grace, Didi. Thanks. I think now it looks pretty good. And what I love the most is that we can have the volume profile on it without it taking too much attention, just as the VWAP right here. Normally I kept it off the chart quite often, otherwise the chart was a bit unclear. But right now I can just keep it all on. The volume, the key levels, VWAP, volume profile, while still looking pretty clean. Welcome Kijels as well. And the blue lines, yeah, agree. Think they look good. Okay, so we just had CPI, not a lot of volatility from it. Bitcoin has been very slow overall. Welcome, Bran. Good to see you. Hope your vacation was good. Good to see you back. Basically, since the start of this week, where we had this Sunday move down, Sunday move up, we have been very slow with the price action and just rotated within. And then here we have quite a lot of buy side liquidity. So the moment we flip, it can be a pretty quick move back up. But yeah, the triggers need to be clean, because oftentimes this slow price action can also just continue lower and then end up with a sell-off. So you want to see a buyer step in. But so far we are following the plan from yesterday, where we formed yesterday our Monday's low. So we took out that initial low yesterday during New York. On New York Open, we took that low, and then we saw a pretty strong buyback higher. For me, there was no trade. It was just sweep and go, so no trade. But right now we pre-planned that this was then our potential Monday's low, and that if we would sweep that the other day, so today, that could give a reversal. So that is what we currently have, and oftentimes the sweep of a Monday's low or Monday's high can give reversal triggers. So I'm potentially watching it if this is potentially our tap 2, where we have range high, range low, tap 2, and then we can watch how do we behave from here. If we look at the structure, it's basically from here, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So this is the most important one, and then internally we have this structure. But for both, we need to reclaim like this point of control. If we do that, get above, then I'm really interested in the potential model 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4 longs, or a model 1 can also, of course, always happen. Where we have this Sunday low below us. So that's a weekend lows. So oftentimes market loves to take that. So we can also watch. Maybe it takes that low and then give a reversal. What is it doing? Okay. And then we have 1, 2, 3. Give a break structure back in the range, and you have your model 1 set up. Which to me looks still pretty good. Especially because we have a lot of buy side liquidity right here. So that's always a nice confluence to have, since that is the catapult we want. So if you then break structure back to bullish within your range, you can very quickly rotate back towards the highs. However, for that we need a break. So internally, let me just put a market structure level right here, horizontal, and I already have an alert on it. So if we push back above that, then I'm gonna be looking for a model 2 or the model 1. And I think also this is where bulls need to step in around this region. We can take that Sunday low and then reverse. But if we do not, or if bulls do not step in here, then there is also nothing but sell side liquidity below. So this is also like a lot of liquidity and only sell side liquidity where we don't have any good demand levels to bounce from. So either buyers step in right around current levels and we get that rotation back up, or I expect us to lose this level and then pretty quick move taking out all the sell side liquidity into that demand, which then could potentially be tap 1, tap 2 of the accumulation. So basically 2 ranges to watch, this one being the internal range and this one the main range. Internal is always lower probability, but since it aligns with the Mondays range, worth keeping an eye on. And I always love when players need, or like buyers need to step in here to avoid that fast drop. So then you want to see them step in, which is kind of an inflection point. So it's always nice. So alerts are set at that internal break of structure level and making a new low. That's basically it. I want to see clean break because we have been seeing super slow price action. So hopefully we can get some volatility, but otherwise I'm not interested in entering chop right here. Quick look at what USDT is doing. This is the main chart. Yeah, just in the range. So we have that high time frame. Let's show it quickly. We have range low, range high, range low, range high. This is a range, tap 1, tap 2. And currently we are potentially forming that third tap. The 1, 2, 3. And we have that local range. So this is the most important range to watch. Also the cleanest one. Where this is also our 4-hour bearish market structure level, which means that if we break back above that bearish market structure level, basically low, lower high, lower low, break above that, and for me the model 1 is confirmed, in which I expect a rotation back towards these highs. So the range high level is very important to see what happens there, just as the range low, where we have those single prints resting below. So super simple idea is to just watch what does price do. Currently it's at right in the middle. So this is yeah, also indicating more chop. But if we go down first, then accumulations from here become highly likely. And that would be the bearish case for crypto. If we first go up, you can watch for potential distributions to form. And then go back down. And if we flip above the range, invalidated local supply, and flip that 4-hour structure, then a very big reversal is likely to happen, in which Bitcoin can go back to much lower levels. So super clean levels, and for now, mark this right in the middle of this range. So just setting alerts, that's the case to do here. And that also aligns with just this range. So this internal range, it's low probability to look, but we can still keep an eye on it. Welcome, Sudo, and welcome, Rames Shreddy. What's your plan for BTC? Well, I just explained it, but I can quickly. Basically, watching this range, range high, range low, we have potentially tap 2 here. If we break this internal back to bullish, then I'm looking for a model 2 or a model 1. I want to see buyers step in defending these levels. If they do not step in and we lose Monday's low, then I might be looking for scalp shorts, although it needs to be really clean, since we only have sell-side liquidity below us. So either buyers step in here, we break local structure, then I'm looking for a higher low for a higher high. Or if we fail to buy, buyers step in here and we hold below these levels, then if I see weakness, I will also look for shorts here. And then I expect range lows next. Main range, which is the higher probability levels, are range high. So look for deviations of the range high for distribution models, and the range low where we have demand and can watch for accumulation models from here. Most important market structure level is still that 4-hour swing structure, which is this red line. So following the 4-hour structure, you can still form basically have high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And now we are ranging here. So normally you would expect a higher low for a higher high in a strong trend. But right now we are ranging, which means that this new range is either going to be a distribution range for reversal down, or there's an accumulation range for continuation up. So very simply put, watch what happens here. Do we accumulate or distribute? And that will also give an indication where the overall trend wants to go to. So that's a quick C plan. You don't think that low before will be swept? Can happen. You mean this weekend low, Sunday low? Yeah, that can happen. I just explained it as well. We can come up here, then look for a higher low, or for a sweep of that low, and then reverse. But it does not have to happen, because this was a deep wick. We already filled it partly, so it doesn't need to be taken, in my opinion. Model 1 might be right, Model 2 is sus, in my opinion. Yeah, can be your opinion. If you break your internal structure, then a Model 2 makes more sense. Because why would you break structure internally back to bullish, and then we're again back to bearish? That makes less sense to me. But both can happen. So just waiting for those triggers to be hit. Regarding gold, we swept that range high, where we had range high, range low. We took out the range highs right here, and then we broke that internal uptrend back to bearish. So I'm mostly interested in shorts, but yeah, I can only short in extreme premium, which is basically this level right here. So if we get a move back into those levels, then I'm gonna watch for an internal bearish break and then short it. And then I think there's a lot of downside, because this is basically only gaps. So the real first support is this demand down there. So looking for that. However, not sure we get the short. And the long is potentially here, where we early in the week made it move up, created demand, overlapping with that VIP. So this is a level where bulls need to step in to basically form the higher low for the higher high, if they want to do that. But yeah, it's not super clean. Let's see. Yeah, this is just mainly pure chop. So I'm not really interested in that right here. Buyers need to defend this little demand, because also here you only have liquidity below it. So either you bounce from this demand and we get that lower high for a lower high for lower low, or if that local demand fails, then you're very likely to take out that local liquidity, and then below that you only have massive gaps. So then it's very likely to see much lower levels. So I'm watching if there's super clean structure here. So let's say we hold, go back up a bit, and then sweep the low, and then give like a local range, something like this. Then I might be interested in longs and see if they can flow over into shorts. Otherwise, yeah, this needs, it's too low for me to short it right here. So I'm not going to short it right here. I need to do that in premium levels, which is above. Let's see what the volume profile is. Yeah, all volume concentrated in the middle. So let's see. Main interest is at the extreme there and then lower there. And what I would love to see is that maybe the trigger from down, take a long, and then if we see weakness in the form of like a 3 drive, break structure, then short it, which can be a higher time frame model 2 distribution. That's basically the main plan for gold. So let's see what happens from there. Can you share your trading journal? Is it public somewhere? No, it's not public. I'm also not going to share it. You can watch it in the Discord. And otherwise, you should trust me on my word. Regarding hype, it failed the 1, 2, 3. So what I'm looking at right now is that main idea. Right. I already showed like we could have the potential 1, 2, 3 here, but we stayed below the VWAP, which basically this is our daily VWAP, the light gray one, and we have the anchored VWAP, and they both trended down. So then you are trading against the trend. It could still sweep the current low, which is doing right now, where it takes liquidity. And if we then break structure back to bullish right there, then it could still potentially flow over into a 1, 2, 3, 4. But for now, it doesn't look really like happening. And I'm more looking for that higher time frame idea with this demand, which is, what is it, 4-hour demand? Yeah, so this is clean 4-hour demand overlapping with the VIP levels. So this is a clean level to at least expect a relief bounce from, which can potentially flow over into a bigger bounce. So I have an alert already down there, and I want to see what the reaction in it is. Could also go into that, then break structure, and then it then flows over into a bigger model. But let's see. For now, the market remains very choppy, so also not really forcing anything. How do we know you are profitable, bro? Your attitude is very negative. I don't know if you see it for yourself, but people like you, I don't even want in my community, and I'm also not even gonna try to convince you that I'm profitable. So keep doing what you're doing. I will do the same. Regarding ETH, super weak, super weak. Let's see. Still watching this main range. And now I'm mainly looking for the with range high, range low, took out the low, tap 2. And now we have extreme liquidity resting down here. And we have that demand still below. So I'm just looking for longs. Mainly if we take a model 1, flip structure, then this is a clean long. And if we come back up, this is potential short PY, but I would still like to see a sweep of the high for any higher time frame short setups. But overall, like Bitcoin has been choppy, but ETH has been next level chop. So let me put an alert at the extreme liquidity and extreme demand. But yeah, ETH it is the least interesting one on the watch list. Okay, before going to the others, we have discussed gold, ETH, BTC hype, and last one is then Tao, not watch Tao. Yesterday I was looking for that 3 drive short, but it ended up in a 4 drive, which is nasty. But there was a reason for, because we had this supply, which got front run on that third one, and then got taken on the fourth tab, and then it broke structure right here. So that was a valid short to take. Although there is still supply above as well. So this is the extreme supply. So you could have shorted it here with a stop above that high and then target the range low, 2.5 R. This could have been a nice one. But I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually, that will be the main idea. If price comes back up, takes out extreme supply, extreme liquidity, which is now this high, or taps into that extreme supply, then breaks structure, then you have a nice distance between tab 1 and 2, which aligns with the distance between tab 2 and tab 3. Then this could be a good distribution range. If you then break structure, that can be a super good swing short. For now, it's just rotating lower. Within this range. Yeah, this needs further development. Not seeing anything too clean. It's now taking some sell side liquidity below here. We have more down there. So for shorts, I want to see higher. And for longs, I want to see it lower. Oh, it's dropping pretty hard right now. Can you check DD? I'm expecting sold 93 and an 87. Yeah, I will check in a minute. Kijo's dead. Are you? DD's dead. You funny man. No, your name is funny. ET is failing to give that reclaim. Okay, let's look at Sol. I haven't looked at Sol in a while, but I believe it made a pretty big move. Yeah, oh, good, that's interesting. So this is the range high, range low, and we took out the range high. And did we broke significant structure? So technically, the main structure is still high, higher low, higher high. So he did not break significant structure. If you break below here, then it becomes much more likely to see lower high for lower low. So let's see. So this horizontal, which is Monday's low, is pretty important. We do have some supply left behind. And this high was made on Monday. Can be a potential strong weekly pivot. On the lower time frame, let's clear up the chart a bit. So on the 30 minutes, it broke structure back to bearish right here. So this is extreme supply POI. And here you have lower high, lower low. So this is always a nice POI to look for potential weakness. Yeah, what happens around this low is super important. Because here you have basically only liquidity resting above, below. So no clean demand. So if you fall below it, can be a pretty quick move down. But let's zoom out. I think it makes sense to look for local shorts. But I think on the higher time frame, just if you zoom out, as usual, we can watch, like if you break down from here, then you break 2 hour back to bearish. And then we can watch for the third tap lower high, which is then a lower low. Then you have lower high, model 2 distribution setup. I think on the high time frame that makes more sense than forcing a short here already. Reaction here is important, and this wick is the Sunday wick. Oh, this is also Sunday. I'm gonna put some alerts because high time frame is pretty interesting. Yeah, we made a sweep of the highs, and it's always valid to look for potential shorts. But should not forget that the uptrend here is still intact. Higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high. So currently we are at that market structure low level, and that is not the place to get bearish. If you swing fill this, that can actually deliver a bounce back up. And from this main range, you are above the value area high, which is here, which overlaps with this demand. So if we just ignore time and look at the distance, then I think it could take quite a long while before we get that higher time frame third tap, which can be either model 1 or model 2 as always. Okay. Gold tapped into the key demand POI. So where can I, right there. This is the key demand, so buyers need to step in here, or you have that sell-side liquidity below it. It's very locally, if I watch it, it looks like a local tree drive. With this, the internal market structure high. Where you have low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Break that internal back to bullish. And I might look for a long to see if I can flip that over into a short right here. So let me put an alert at that level. And this is always where I like to do business, because this is key demand. Either buyers step in here or not. So that already means that this low is basically your clean invalidation. Either this low holds, or much lower is more likely. But then you still always want to have a structure break, which in this case is breaking above this high. And this is not a high probability setup, but it can be a scalp, just to see if we can then trade that back to a potential short into those VIP confluences. It's always right there. But overall it looks weak, so I will only take it if it's too clean to pass on. The only reason for this is local tree drive, key demand, range discount. And if you get now a break internally, then you have a bullish break internally. So it can be a scalp that would like to de-risk it quickly. Let's see. BTC buyers are showing up where they need to, but need to flip that point of control. If the POC is flipped, then that is a sign of strength. Eat Tao, not that clean. Okay, so then Tom, because high time frame, it's interesting. We pre-planned yesterday that I was a bit too late to watch it. Actually, we tapped into this low. Just delete it. Keyjolls came with it, which was super clean. Where we had the one. Well, first zoom out. This is our range. Range high, range low. Oh. Clean. So with tab 1, tab 2. And this was the bullish PO3 idea we pre-planned. Which this can be like a model 1 / bullish PO3. Which this is your deviation, aka manipulation. I said if that consists out of a local accumulation, that would be super nice. However, I was not looking for the model 2 idea. I was watching for the model 1, in which we made a new low, which was just wrong thinking, because you can always watch for the model 2, and that is the one that played out. Because with 1, 2, 3, and then internally here you broke it back to bullish, then price shot higher into extreme supply. And right now the main idea is potentially still alive, where this is range low, sweep of the range low, deviation, push back, retest your range low, and then you want to bounce. So this is also key level, and it just came into, what is it? 3-hour demand. Tapped into it and now seeing a slight buyback. So locally, I'm quite interested in potential longs. The only thing that's a bit unfortunate is that this move is so aggressive. in which you don't have structure in this leg, and you do have strong supply. So how I watched it is here. This is new range. It's deleted high time frame range. Just knowing that this is our range low level. We are bouncing exactly from that range low level. That's what you want to see. And this can now be potentially step 1. This is step 2. We are bouncing where we need to. Then we can watch. Do we take out or tap into supply? If you then come back, watch for model 2. And then long it back up. And that idea, I do like it more right now, since we are bouncing exactly where we need to. And while doing that, we are creating some demand where you can later come back for. So little alert down there. And then picture perfect scenario is to fill the fair value gap into take out that supply. So then later you don't have any resistance anymore. Then form your third step, break structure, and then we can long it. And then at long, you don't take profit at your range high. No, this can be turned into pretty big runner, because we already swing filled the 4-hour market structure. Was it 4-hour, 2-hour, hourly? Yeah, so the main structure was lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then here we swing filled the high. So here we reject it, but it means that next time we push above, you have a structure break back to bullish, and then you basically only have liquidity here. So then the upside is pretty interesting. So let's see how this develops, but it can turn into the bullish PO3 idea we have been looking at since yesterday. And for that, you want this to remain the manipulation. So border red. Let's make that a bit wider. And therefore, this retest should hold. So super clean invalidation, which is super nice to look for trades. So keep an eye on it, and can turn into something interesting. Besides that, there is not much to look at. Market has been super choppy, and also here Bitcoin is failing to push above. Can have a quick look at the order flow. I'd really like it if Tom plays out like that. Yeah, it would be really nice. I can see it play out. Depends a little bit on if the market has the strength to give another push. But if markets are bullish, like these PO3 setups, basically range high, range low, manipulation, and then 3. This is, I don't know if you guys know Rect Proof, but this is like his bread and butter setup, the 3-tap setup. Low, manipulation, high, low, push. That is what you in a strong trend continuously will see. And this is also where buyers need to step in, because also here, below this level, which I said yesterday, you want to see buyers step in here, because if they don't, then no, this is only liquidity. So good chance that if you fall below it, then it just dies down, taking out all that sell side liquidity. So if the big players behind this want to give it another push, they should do it from these levels. So that's always a nice extra confluence. Order flow wise, yeah, open interest is flat. CVDs are a bit bearish. Spot also a bit selling, but nothing too interesting. And overall, like I've combined all the daily TPO levels here since the start of that range. And you can basically see that we are right at the point of control. So this is a super low probability trade environment. Right at the POC, where you can see a lot of chop. So that's also why I'm not super interested in trading it right here. Because yeah, it can turn into very choppy. And then I don't like to be in a position where you chop around a few days. I want to quickly see if it's going into the right direction or not. And internal ranges are always more dangerous to play compared to your main range. So I think for this week, most important thing is the market is choppy as fuck, but that is where your patience gets tested. And you should wait for the clean triggers because they will come again. But in the meantime, you should not waste your bullets forcing trades that are not there. You're going down again. So for me, I think most important is to wait for the clean setup again and not force anything. Looking for longs if we get it down here. Too late, too short. But if you get like a move with the 3 drive, I'm always interested in shorting 3 drives or longing a 3 drive to the downside. But yeah, main range is high to low. So watch for that. We should remember for Thursday is Clarity X, so hopefully some volatility there. Ah, that's good to know. I also want to be a chartist. I love this so much. You can turn into one, Arnaud. If you practice it enough, just like with painting, you will turn into a chartist. It also sounds cool. If people ask me what I do for work, I will just tell them I'm a chartist and part of the greatest community in crypto. So yeah, basically that. I think patience is most important. Most charts look like this has potential, but BTC looks pretty shit. ETH pretty shit. Only interested in lower levels. Gold, look, now it's invalidating at local tree drive, so then I'm not interested anymore. And now it looks more bearish than yeah, like here, this demand is now failing. And below it, we don't have any demand anymore. So what I'm now looking for, I would still love to short it higher up, but I'm not sure we get it. But what you then can watch for is to see if you get a loss of this demand, which we're doing now, and then get a move up. If you then get a local tree drive, that can be your local short trigger. Because your main bias is lower. If you then have like that tree drive with a structure break right here, then that can give a low time frame entry, and then you can just trade with the trend. And that can often even give better entries or like better risk to reward setups. So keeping an eye on gold, but yeah, that are more like scalp trades, not really the clean entry trigger TP kind of setups, which are obviously the higher probability ones to play. Yeah, so that's it. You are a chartist. Thanks. It often sounds like also a bit like an autist. A chartist slash art autist. But maybe we are all a little bit as well. Otherwise you wouldn't be in crypto for years. Yeah. Does anyone have a question or want me to look at a chart? Can have a quick look at silver. I haven't watched it. No, this is not silver. This is. Yeah, so we still had that range, initiation, potential mitigation. But yeah, the longer this takes, the lower probability the mitigation becomes. Often if you have this, you're gonna move away. You want a quick retest and then go. Now the distance between this accumulation and then this becomes a bit too big. So then I would not be as aggressive, but would like to see like a local range be formed. And if you then get your trigger, then play the continuation. But it's not tap and go anymore. For that, you want to have a shorter time duration of this compared to your accumulation range. But overall, structure-wise, this is still just a super clean uptrend. So into proof and otherwise, you can just expect a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So still waiting for these levels to be hit. Beside that, not much interesting stuff here. No, just waiting for that. I'm pretty sure this will be hit sooner or later. Do you have a rule for valid boss? Do you wait for 2 candle close above point of break or 1 candle above is okay? For me, a 1 candle is enough, but it has to be a good break. So let's say you have a downtrend and this is, let's say, your boss. I would not count this as a good boss. Like a good boss is a boss that clearly breaks structure. This is a good boss. Then I would expect higher low, higher high. But if you have to zoom in or like be like, oh, is this a boss or not? If you question it, then it's often not a good boss. But like technically, a close above is enough. A wick, that is the opposite of a boss. Because a wick often indicates that the low will be retested. But for me, 1 candle is sufficient. As long as it's clearly a break above the level and not just a tiny move above. So that's basically it. Super slow week so far, but it's often can often then if you just have patience, and you will see that, for example, tomorrow setup after setup after setup will present itself. But yeah, most important is to not force a trade every day, because simply there isn't a trade every day, or there could be, but not higher probability ones. Yeah, definitely a good question. Well, then I think if there are no questions anymore, that I will wrap up the stream. Yeah, as said, plans are clear. For now, BTC is failing to show strength. In which if we fall lower here, then this can quickly unwind. So then range low becomes next. So yeah, either here it's lose it, and if you get a clean weakness, it could be potential scalp short for lower. Otherwise, I want to see clean break above this point of control and then look for a higher low. The other plans I already shared. So I think it's clear. And don't forget, we are in the middle of this main range. So this is just super choppy price action. And yeah, often that is designed to take your money. So only get involved if you have a clean setup you are confident about. Otherwise, you are just adding to the liquidity, which is the purpose of these ranges. At ranges, you want to trade extremes. That's where everyone gets trapped or get wiped out. And don't trade the middle, because then you are just part of the liquidity. So thanks everyone for joining. And I'll speak to you guys in the Discord, as always. So see you there, and cheers. Happy trading.